All right, psych students, going to our second sensation. This will be audition or hearing. Obviously, vision is usually the most important, then hearing becomes second most important. So when we look at the sensation is obviously going to be sound waves. Just like light waves, different aspects of the waves are going to give us different information. So frequency and wavelength. This is going to determine the pitch. So if you have a high or low pitched voice, that is going to be determined by the wavelength of the sound wave you produce. So short wavelengths, high pitched sounds. The younger you are, the higher or the shorter the wavelength of the sound wave you produce. As you become older, voices usually deepen. So those wavelengths will become longer as we get older. So second, amplitude and height. This is going to tell us the volume of the sound. So when you're turning up the volume on your TV, the music you're listening to, you're increasing the decibels in that. So like if we're watching something on the smartboard and I turn the volume up on the smartboard, the speakers actually expand to allow more or a greater amplitude of wave to come out. So amplitude tells us sound or loudness, and frequency is going to determine the pitch. So acoustical transduction, again, transduction, really important. So our brain can actually interpret that wave itself. So obviously we're going to take sound waves into neural impulses. So the eardrum, the bones of the inner ear, and the cochlea, those are all going to be involved in this transition from sound wave to neural impulse. So the sound waves hit the eardrum, and that's going to turn the sound waves into vibrations. The bones are going to vibrate from the eardrum to the cochlea, and then the cochlea is going to take the vibrations and turn them into auditory neural signals. So the cochlea is where a majority of the acoustical transduction occurs, but the bones of the inner ear and the eardrum are also involved. So here we would have the inner ear. So this is the cochlea. Those little hairs inside are neurons, and as they sway back and forth, they're going to send the message. So you see some of these crossed off right here. If you've ever experienced a ringing in your ear after a loud sound, that ringing is these cells or neurons dying off. So it's almost like them saying goodbye. It's their swan song. You're never going to be able to use me again. But that's also, as we get older, our hearing decreases because these also die off naturally. So main theories we're going to look at is obviously how do we perceive pitch, because pitch is just a slight change in the actual wavelength. I don't know if you guys heard that bell. I don't know. So 2 theories. Psych has to have a lot of theories. Most of the reason why we have 2 to 3 theories for certain things is truly because one theory does not explain them all. So the 2 theories we look at, and they're going to be pretty simple, and they're much more simpler than the ones for color. So the first is the Young-Helmholtz place theory. So this one, the main idea here is location, location, location. So the pitch is going to be determined where the sound registers on the cochlea. So this is going to help better explain high-pitched sounds. And the main thing here is think location, location, location. So the place, the location. So here's how the place theory would work. So if the sound registers there on the cochlea, it's going to be a lower pitched sound because it's closer to the base. And if we have a sound register towards the center, that's going to be a higher pitched sound because it registers there. Now realistically, we could probably combine the place theory and the frequency theory, but to just give you kind of an idea, that's the main difference between a low and high pitched sound there. So frequency theory, this is going to best explain the low pitched sounds that we hear. So all we're going to look at with frequency theory, speed and the rate of the neural impulse determine the pitch of the tone. So like for example, like a 100 hertz bell, those auditory nerves would fire like 100 times a second. So if we increase the hertz or the pitch of the bell to 200, we essentially double the rate of the cochlear nerves. So problem with the pitch theories, human range for pitch is from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Neurons can only fire at a rate of 1,000 times per second, so frequency theory is going to have a lot of trouble explaining the higher end of our range in hearing. So how do we estimate we can hear frequencies of over 1,000? The solution is going to be what we call the volley principle. So realistically, what we look at with the volley principle has those little hairs, those cilia hairs, those neurons in the cochlea fire. They're going to fire in rapid succession. So kind of like a stack of dominoes, as the dominoes fall and increase distance, it almost looks like it increases speed. So if you look at the frequency theory and the place theory, they can both be combined to explain, because if the volley principle is how we hear a pitch of over 1,000, it's going to take it all the way to the center of the cochlea to reach that speed of 20,000. The main thing to remember, volley principle, this explains the higher end of our hearing range. So it's almost like they work together. And then the last thing we look at, hearing loss. Two types of hearing loss, conduction and sensory neural. The main difference is the damage, or what parts have been damaged, and the treatment. So conduction hearing loss, the eardrum and the bones in the inner ear are broken. So it's harder to change sound waves into vibrations. So what we can do, we can give hearing aids. Those will amplify the sound wave and then allow them to register on the cochlea. Sensory neural hearing loss, the cochlea itself, those cells are dying. So heredity, aging, blasting loud music, again, anytime you hear that ringing in your ears after a loud sound, that's sensory neural hearing loss. And this can be treated with cochlea implants. And those are those videos you can look up on YouTube where the person hears for the first time or hears for a long time. It almost looks like they have some type of sound register on the side of their head, but that is where the transduction from sound waves into neural impulses happen. So they're actually doing that outside. So here would be the cochlear implant itself. There's the actual computer itself. So what has happened, they have fed a steel titanium thread, very thin, and wrapped it around the cochlea. And so now that does the vibration instead of the hairs themselves. So that's it for hearing. Next one we look at will be touch, taste, and smell. And that'll be done by Mr. Cobb.